Have you ever felt stuck, trying to build new habits but struggling to make them stick? The problem might not be you, but the approach you're using. I used to experience the same issue, constantly falling short despite my best efforts, until I read Atomic Habits by James Clear. This book completely changed the way I approach building habits, showing me that even the smallest changes can create life-changing results. What I learned was that it's not about willpower or motivation, but about designing a system that makes success inevitable. In this video, I'll guide you through the science of habit formation, share practical strategies you can start applying today, and explain how small adjustments can unlock big results. Stick around, and by the end, you'll have the tools to reshape your daily habits and transform your life. Chapter 1. Small habits can have a surprisingly powerful impact on your life. Imagine a plane taking off from Los Angeles, heading to New York. The pilot accidentally adjusts the course by just 3.5 degrees, so small no one notices. But as the plane travels across the country, this slight change takes it off course, landing in Washington, D.C., instead of New York. This illustrates how small changes, which seem insignificant at first, can have a huge impact over time. If you jog for 20 minutes today, you won't see much difference tomorrow. Likewise, eating a pizza won't make you overweight overnight. However, repeated actions, whether positive or negative, compound into significant results over time. The lesson? Small habits may not show immediate results, but they shape your future. If you're saving a little money each month, your account might not look impressive today, but over time, you'll see meaningful growth. It's important to focus on your trajectory, not just your current results. To get on the right trajectory, you need to develop the right habits. The rest of the book will show you how to do just that. Chapter 2. Habits are automatic behaviors that we have learned through experience. When you walk into a dark room, you automatically reach for the light switch without thinking. This simple act is a habit, something you've done repeatedly until it became second nature. Habits dominate much of our lives, from brushing our teeth to driving a car. But how do they form? In the 19th century, psychologist Edward Thorndike conducted an experiment with cats. He placed them in a box, and they had to find a lever to escape. At first, the cats struggled, but after repeated attempts, they quickly learned to go straight for the lever. The process became habitual. The cats learned that pressing the lever brought freedom, and they repeated this action automatically. Thorndike's work revealed that behaviors with satisfying outcomes, like gaining freedom, are repeated until they become automatic. Since then, we've learned that habits follow a pattern of 4 elements. Cue, a trigger that prompts action, like walking into a dark room. Craving, a desire for change, in this case, moving from darkness to light. Response, the action taken, flicking the light switch. Reward, the satisfaction or relief from completing the action, seeing the room light up. This process applies to any habit. Do you drink coffee every morning? Waking up is the cue. Craving alertness is the desire. Making coffee is the response. And feeling awake is the reward. Now that you know how habits work, let's explore how to build good habits that can change your life for the better. Chapter 3. Building new habits requires hard-to-miss cues and a plan of action. Now that we know how habits form, cue, craving, response, and reward, let's look at how to use this process to create productive habits that stick. Take learning the guitar, for example. You want to practice, but the day slips away and you never pick it up. To fix this, make the cue impossible to miss. Instead of storing the guitar in a corner, leave it right in the middle of the room. By changing your environment, you make the cue visible and more likely to trigger action. Another tool to build habits is implementation intentions, a clear plan of when and where you'll perform the habit. For example, instead of vaguely saying, "I'll practice guitar this week," set a plan. On Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'll practice for an hour right after my alarm goes off. Combine this with a visible cue, and you'll be much more likely to stick with it. You might wonder if this really works in practice. The answer? Yes. Dr. Ann Thorndike, a Boston-based doctor, rearranged a hospital cafeteria as part of an experiment. She replaced sodas near the cash register with bottled water and placed more water baskets around the cafeteria. In 3 months, soda sales dropped by 11%, while water sales increased by 25%. By altering the environment and creating easy cues for healthier choices, people naturally developed better habits without needing willpower. The takeaway? Make your cues clear, set a specific plan, and you'll find it much easier to build positive habits that last. Chapter 4. Humans are motivated by the anticipation of reward, so making habits attractive will help you stick to them. We've learned how habits are formed, how to use cues, and now it's time to explore the role of rewards in habit building. In 1954, neuroscientists James Olds and Peter Milner discovered the importance of dopamine, a neurotransmitter that drives desire. In their experiment, rats that had dopamine blocked lost all motivation to eat, drink, or survive, eventually dying of thirst. This shows how critical dopamine is as a motivator for action. Interestingly, you don't need to actually experience pleasure to get a dopamine hit. The anticipation of something pleasurable is enough to trigger it. This insight is key in building new habits. If we link our habits to something we look forward to, we're more likely to follow through. One effective strategy is temptation bundling, pairing a task you need to do with something you enjoy. For example, Ronan Byrne, an engineering student, loved Netflix but hated exercising. So he rigged his bike so Netflix only played if he pedaled at a certain speed. By tying exercise to a pleasurable activity, he turned a chore into a habit. You don't need to engineer a device to use temptation bundling. You can make it as simple as only allowing yourself to read magazines while at the gym, or rewarding yourself with ESPN after completing work calls. The key is finding ways to make essential but unattractive tasks enjoyable, riding that dopamine wave to form positive habits. Chapter 5. If you want to build a new habit, make that habit as easy to adopt as possible. Make habits easy to stick by reducing friction and using the 2-minute rule. To make habits stick, we can also make them easy. Easy behaviors, like scrolling through social media or snacking, dominate our lives because they require little effort. On the other hand, things like exercising or learning a new language take more energy, which is why we often avoid them. The key to forming good habits is reducing friction, the barriers that make tasks harder. For example, James Clear's wife always sends greeting cards because she keeps a box of pre-sorted cards at home. The reduced friction of having cards ready makes it easy to act. Friction works both ways. You can increase friction to break bad habits. If you watch too much TV, unplug the TV or take the batteries out of the remote. This extra step creates enough friction to help you reduce mindless TV time. The second trick is the 2-minute rule, which simplifies any new habit by breaking it down into something you can do in just 2 minutes. If you want to read more, commit to reading just 2 pages each night. If you want to run a marathon, start by putting on your running shoes every day. By reducing friction and making habits manageable, you're more likely to stick with them. The key is to get started. Once you do, momentum often takes over. Chapter 6. Making your habits immediately satisfying is essential to effective behavior change. As we near the end of our exploration of habits, it's time to focus on the final rule. Habits need to be satisfying. Take the story of Stephen Luby, a public health researcher in Karachi, Pakistan, during the 1990s. Luby achieved impressive results, reducing childhood diarrhea by 52%, pneumonia by 48%, and skin infections by 35%. His secret? Nice soap. Despite locals knowing the importance of hand washing, they didn't make it a habit until Procter & Gamble introduced premium soap that smelled and lathered well. Hand washing became enjoyable, and the health outcomes improved drastically. This story shows that making habits satisfying is key to making them stick. However, achieving satisfaction can be difficult because humans are wired for immediate gratification, not delayed rewards. For example, going to the gym won't show immediate results, and your paycheck comes only after weeks of work. Our ancestors focused on immediate concerns: food, shelter, and survival. Today, this same instinct leads to bad habits, like smoking. Smoking relieves stress instantly, even though its health consequences are delayed. To build habits with delayed rewards, you need to add immediate gratification. For instance, one couple wanted to eat out less and cook more to save money and get healthier. They opened a trip to Europe savings account and deposited $50 each time they avoided dining out. The immediate pleasure of seeing the account grow motivated them to stay on track with their longer-term goals. The lesson? Attach short-term rewards to long-term habits, and you'll be more likely to stick with them. Chapter 7. Create a framework to keep your habits on track using trackers and contracts. Even with pleasurable and satisfying habits, we might struggle to maintain them. So, how do we stay on track? One effective method is habit tracking. Take inspiration from Benjamin Franklin, who tracked his adherence to 13 virtues throughout his life. Each day, he recorded his progress, and the act of marking off each success became its own reward. You can do the same with a simple calendar or diary. Crossing off each day as you complete a habit feels satisfying and motivates you to keep going. Habit tracking itself becomes a habit, giving you a sense of accomplishment. Another strategy is using a habit contract that introduces consequences if you fail. Entrepreneur Brian Harris signed a contract with his wife and personal trainer to lose weight. He committed to habits like tracking food intake and weekly weigh-ins. If he failed, he had to pay his trainer $100 or his wife $500. The fear of losing money and face in front of those he cared about motivated him to stick to his goals. Humans are social creatures, and we care about what others think. Setting up accountability with someone who matters to you can greatly improve your chances of sticking to your habits. Even a simple agreement with a partner or friend, along with agreed-upon consequences, can provide the motivation needed to stay on track. In the end, sticking to small, positive habits is a powerful way to achieve big changes over time. The book outlines the 4 laws of behavior change. First, make the habit easy. Second, make the habit attractive. Third, make the habit satisfying. Fourth, track habits daily. So, what I did after reading Atomic Habits. Before reading Atomic Habits, I constantly procrastinated, especially when it came to starting a workout routine. I kept delaying, finding excuses, and struggled with motivation. But after reading the book, I decided to take action. One of the first things I did was create a habit tracker to monitor my daily habits. I started small by committing to walking or running just 1 mile per day. To make it easier, I put on my workout clothes before going to sleep and set my alarm clock an hour earlier. This small preparation made it easier to get up and start my workout in the morning without hesitation. Tracking my progress and following these small changes helped me stay accountable and consistent. Over time, these tiny habits led to greater improvements in my routine and fitness. After a year of consistency, I went from barely running 1 mile to running 4 miles every morning, or more if I have time. This has drastically improved both my physical and mental health. I track my habits using the Excel template I've included in the link below. It's simple, easy to use, and you can fully customize it to suit your own goals in Excel. And the best part? I'm sharing it with you all for free. This tracker has been a game changer for me, helping me stay consistent and measure my progress every day. If you're looking to take control of your habits and make real, lasting changes, This tool is a great place to start. Make sure to check out my channel for more tips, tools, and insights on building better habits, improving your health, and achieving your goals. Let's level up together.